Hello, everyone. So today I thought to talk about Benjamin. So in previous classes, we've been discussing Joseph Tzaddik, Joseph the Righteous, and we discussed the whole episode in brief of Joseph and his brothers, of his brothers coming to Egypt to buy grain, and leading ultimately with in their protecting Benjamin, ultimately to their repenting for selling Joseph into slavery, and also for the reunion between Joseph and his father Jacob. So we discussed there that Joseph's test is overcoming the sin of seduction, and as a result of that, so the Pharaoh then called him Safnat Paneach, the revealer of the concealed, which relates to the revealer of the wonders of the superconscious. So what does Benjamin relate to? So Benjamin, this is also explained in Rabbi Ginsburgh's book, Body, Mind, and Soul. It relates to the holy wolf. So, not to go too much into it, but what's the headline of today? So the headline of today is integrating sunlight. Maybe it would be good to integrate sunlight. So again, I'm not a doctor. I can't speak for the physical, but it's very interesting. It's in many of these classes, I didn't say it explicitly because I wanted to just let the topics kind of develop over time, the meditation develop over time. But many of the topics that relate to coronavirus are taken from this chapter in this book, published 2004, on lupus. And again, I don't know the physical parallels, but in some ways, the coronavirus is the opposite of the lupus experience. And what do I mean by that? So in this context, I'm just going to read now from page 152. So first to explain about, so Benjamin rectifies, very similar to Joseph. The holy wolf rectifies sexual perversion, and it's rectifying the fear of rape. So this is explained at length over here, but I'm just going to read this paragraph for now. A further indication of the relation of lupus to the rape syndrome is seen in the medical findings that note that for many lupus patients, the sun will either spark an episode of the disease, if it is in remission, or intensify an existing manifestation. Psychologically, lupus patients often have an aversion to sunlight and tanning. They prefer being in the dark in order to remain hidden or private. Lupus patients feel that the sun is their enemy. The spiritual root of this condition is an underlying fear that exposure to the sun allows the sun to touch and enter one's body. This psychophysical aversion to sunlight, similar to the fear of rape, places the sun in the position of the wolf. So it's this psychologically, again, we're saying it's the aversion or the fear even of being invaded. And this is exactly the terminology that was used, that if we could somehow have it so that the rays of the sun, the UV light should enter in. I don't know if they use the actual word invade, but to enter inside the body. So how do we rectify that? So we have to focus on the meditation right now is on Benjamin. Okay. So this is a footnote in Body, Mind, and Soul from this section. Most significantly, the root of the word for son, shemesh, is the same as that for sexual intercourse, tashmish. The two-letter subroot of these words, mash, means to touch. In Sefer Yetzirah, tashmish is the seventh. All sevenths are cherished of the 12 senses of the soul, corresponding to the 7th month of the year, Tishrei, the month of the high holidays and the festival of Sukkot. It further corresponds to the tribe of Ephraim, whose name means to be fruitful and produce, to the letter Lamed associated with the lower covenant of the bris milah, right, the male procreative organ, as discussed above, and to the gallbladder. All of these occasions may be seen to relate to lupus, its cause, and its cure. Okay, so we've been discussing the mitzvah to be fruitful and multiply, and what do we say? As we said, it's a light experience, both physically when the sperm makes contact with the egg, and also in one's mind, in one's thoughts, new flashes of insight, giving birth to new ideas, which is with the motivation to help others. It's very important that it says of Elisha, the prophet Elisha, in the merit of his desire, of his prayers to help others, so he was able to contain the great chaotic lights of creation from God in order to bring it down into vessels, it's called rectified vessels, in order to help people, to bring about these miracles through God. So when we say that this relationship to marital relations, to the son, to being fruitful, the mitzvah, the commandment to be fruitful, multiply, which was the first commandment given in the Torah, and when we're talking about the sun entering us, what we're talking about is bringing down new revelation, new light. It's called Atzmos or Ein Sof, the essence of the infinite light of God, and bringing it down to the world in order to heal the world. And we do that through selflessness, through dedication, through prayer, through repentance, and again, it's selfless dedication to help others. So this is a rectification. So what happened? That the tribe of Benjamin had an episode with that they succumbed to temptation, and they actually succumbed to rape, to actual rape with the concubine of Giv'ah. It's documented in the sources. I'll link to a list below where the story is documented. And it was a very trying time for the other tribes waged war against Benjamin. But in order that they should be able to continue, the tribe of Benjamin should be able to continue, it was decided that they would be able to intermarry with the other tribes, still Jewish tribes, but the other tribes, they were able to choose maidens, single men to be able to choose maidens from the other tribes. And this was the celebration of Tu B'Av, which is still celebrated today, the 15th of Av, of making matches. So we discussed in previous videos about thinking both in terms of if a person who needs a shidduch to think of others. Maybe they're still looking for their brochure to think of how to make suggestions for others, or for couples that are already married, to both in terms of having children, and also in terms of, we talked about spiritual children raising up students in Torah learning. So this is all related to Joseph, but now we also could relate to his brother. Right? There's many dynamics are shared between Joseph and Benjamin, and specifically now we're talking about the rectification of the covenant of the bris milah. So when we see a headline, it's, again, I can't speak about the science behind it, but psychologically, it means both in terms of connecting with Benjamin as well as Joseph, and also it relates to choosing. So there's political implications there, that someone who is concerned about being reelected would mention this, because why? There's two types of marriage. There's marriage that's preordained or set up, and then by the parents, and then there's marriage that it's of their choice, the choice of their heart, of their own choosing. And Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, is very much the latter, more of the modern form of matchmaking, or even secular. It's the choosing according to the heart's desire, and obviously, it should be for the context of marriage, but that's the idea. So when we talk about choosing, it also has political ramifications. That when we choose, we're choosing. What does it mean to choose a leader? So to choose a leader, when we choose a wife, our wife should inspire us. Inspire creativity to fulfill our potential in life, and vice versa. And to choose a leader is very similar. It's very important to be inspired by the leaders that we choose, ultimately, or most essentially, to choose Mashiach, to choose the Redeemer. So right now I'm going to bring something from another book by my teacher, Rabbi Ginsburgh. This book is called Awakening the Spark Within, and this book is on leadership. And from page 76, so we mentioned this prophecy from Isaiah: "For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of God as waters cover the sea." So I'm just going to read here this paragraph. And this whole book is on leadership. So it's a very good book. I encourage you to pick it up. Well, the Spirit of God that will rest upon him refers to an all-encompassing level of inspiration. It describes an individual experience, the experience of the ultimate leader himself. But the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of God refers to a climactic manifestation of inspiration encompassing all humanity, the flood of divine knowledge that will cover the face of the earth as the waters cover the sea. The role of the ultimate leader is to be the channel and priming force, opening up God's infinite flow of inspiration to all the world. It goes on to say it's the singular spirit, and the one soul that is the channel, the priming force for this flood of divine knowledge to fill all of reality. So when we talk about a leader, now we're talking about the true Torah leader. but specifically it's a Torah leader that is revealing the inner dimension of the Torah. Because that's what it means to flood all of reality, is that we see how godliness is, with our eyes, we see godliness in every aspect of creation. And that is clearly taught according to the inner dimension of the Torah in Kabbalah and Chassidus. It's important to also learn the halacha, Jewish law, and the real dimension of the Torah. But we need both, and the teacher is the one that shows us the wonders of creation, opens our eyes and reveals the wonders of creation. So I think that's good for today. And again, the meditation is on the rectified wolf that happened in this in Tu B'Av, in the 15th of Av, where these single men from the tribe of Benjamin, they snatched their a maiden for themselves in holy marriage. So, okay, thank you very much, and take care. Thank you.